Hey guys, it's Theo. Let's say your wife, girlfriend, or whatever has a long day at work. You meet, she starts talking about her day, and it sounds like maybe she's frustrated about something that happened there. Now, what do? Most of my female friends will be sitting with me, listening, and probably asking some questions. My male coworkers or friends, however, would have come up with solutions instead. And that's where the difficulties start. Now that we've covered meta communication and non-verbal communication in my last two videos, let's turn to one particular phenomenon. Women and men communicate differently. The fact as such and the resulting misunderstandings are certainly part of a general life experience of every human being. I mean, thousands of books and movies have already addressed to it. We are therefore not only interested in the fact, but also what the difference looks like, what it is based on, and what consequences can be derived from this for our everyday life. For professional situations, we have often ignored the differences, while we constantly encounter it in our private life. This can be explained by the fact that the professional world has traditionally been, or in certain cases still is, male dominant. But even this fact has not brought the issue about the difference in communication to the fore. There are two reasons for that. Firstly, there is a gender-specific segregation at work. This means that there are jobs that are more likely to be done by women, for example nursing, and others that are more likely to be done by men, like being a craftsman. As a result, women tend to work more with other women and men tend to work more with other men. Secondly, and mentioned before, the professional world is also male dominated in terms of distributions of the influence. In the top management positions, we almost most exclusively find men. As a result, male communication is defined as professionally appropriate. The female communication is then presented as inappropriate or simply not understood. The increased importance of teamwork in companies has changed this situation dramatically in recent years. Now, what's the difference? To explain this, let's try using Schulz von Thu's model of communication again, which we got to know in the first video, by the way. When making generalizations, let's keep in mind that these are statistically significant differences. So specific individual cases may be different. As senders of messages from the four sides of a message, men empathize the factual level the most, while women empathize the relationship level the most. As the receiver, men have pronounced the object ear, while women have a very pronounced relationship ear. This leads to very typical misunderstandings between men and women. Let's take a look at the example from the beginning again. We can solve this mystery with the help of research results from American scientists. The American communication scientist Deborah Tannen has worked out that women live in a relational world where individuals want to negotiate through complex networks of relationships, minimize differences, strive for agreement, and avoid the appearance of superiority that would emphasize differences. The key for them for successful communication is therefore intimacy. The American family therapist John Gray adds, female self-confidence is defined by feelings and the quality of relationships. Women experience fulfillment through sharing and talking. Applied to our example, this means that the woman will only have needed a good listener, who shows understanding for the situation, but does not give any advice. Also, and this may sound strange to some men, but if you ever get in a situation where a female coworker or someone you're not that well affiliated with comes to you and talks about their problems or something, this will actually serve as kind of an entry point into the communication and into the formation of the relationship. Men, on the other hand, live in a status world where giving orders is a high status sign. Here, independency is key to a successful communication. Men primarily find fulfillment in success. This explains why the male coworkers of mine immediately communicated solution-minded options and gave advice. It also explains the confusion and lack of understanding when the woman cuts off the communication and goes away. But where do do these differences come from? Differences used to be as part of socialization. The upbringing and education of women was aimed at taking on the family role of a mother, that of men on taking over the breadwinning for the family. Since this is only partially true today, on the one hand and on the other hand, the differences of communication are still there and are even becoming more prominent. That the different socialization alone cannot explain the differences. The communication scientists are now assuming that the difference is genetically determined. Just like with animals, it is intended and constructed as a conscious difference between female and male in nature. Because of this difference, the Burrow Tenon describes communication between women and men as intercultural communication, which often fails due to conversational styles. This would mean that the differences in communication between men and women is the same as someone speaking a European and an Asian language. With this understanding, let's try to find a solution. Men and women should clarify at those difficult interactions what they need and what they understood. Over time, it can happen that you will develop more of a sense of what the other person needs because you will learn how to predict behaviors. But to start with, men and women should both make it easier for the other by understanding that they do, in fact, speak different languages. Thank you for watching. If you have some personal experience to share on this topic or feel like I was talking rubbish, please leave a comment. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Ciao!